plan for risk assessment, a woman in the audience stood up and she said, "Well, I don't know much about risk assessment, but I think that this young woman, pointing to me, is going to do a good job. Would you come back and tell us what you found out?" "Will do. I am crushing this meeting." Center aisle to take the one remaining seat in the front of the room, the witness for the prosecution had arrived. This witness left her house in a hurry to come down to the meeting, and I knew this because she had curlers in the back of her hair and a house coat zipped up to there. "I have a question," she said, pointing to me. "I've been reading about lead and arsenic and soil in the newspaper. My cat has been missing for 9 days. I think the soil killed my cat. And what are you going to do about that?" That woman over there thinks I'm doing a good job. This woman alleges I killed her cat.
I was driving home from lunch. I see 3 fire trucks on the side of the road. Lights are spinning. Emergency response crews are doing emergency response things, putting down booms, putting down speedy dry, trying to contain the spill. I think to myself, here I am, a rogue LSP driving home. Maybe they could use my help. So I pull over, put on my hard hat, steel-toe boots, and safety vest, and say, "Hi, Bob. Bob Murphy's there, Mass DEP, Emergency Response, Southeast Region." And of course, when a public water supply is in peril, DEP is on site. Bob puts on his hard hat and his high-vis jacket, and we walk over and talk to the PRP, Farmer Ferry. And in a stern yet professional tone, Bob Murphy explains to Farmer Ferry, "You have a couple of obligations. As a potentially responsible party, you have to hire an emergency response contractor and an LSP. That's a licensed site professional. I can't tell you what LSP to hire, but there's one standing right here next to me."
So I start going through my slides. I made it through 1.5 slides. And all of a sudden someone stands up and I'm like, "Okay, a question." And he says, "Would you let your unborn baby eat this dirt?" And I'm like, "Oh, this isn't good." And I said, "Well, I'm not a nuclear physicist." And that's when someone stood up in the audience and said, "But I am." And I was like, "Are you kidding me? Like, this can't be happening."
Good evening. I was planning to come here tonight and tell you how, under the auspices of the Massachusetts Contingency Plan, I've had a 20-year career working on original, groundbreaking projects for clients with relaxed schedules and unlimited budgets. And then I was told it had to be a true story. The method detection limit for the non-detects, and then somewhat tediously subtracted them all back out, and being sure I had the number right, took that average. A few hours later, I placed it on his desk, went home, and went out the next day to the field. When I returned to the office the following afternoon, the paper was back on my desk. And on the margin, in red pen, because that was his preferred editorial tool, was written a 3-letter acronym, which I understood as Wednesday, Thursday, Friday.
And there was the call from the attorney who was working for the homeowner that had hired him. She laid right into me. $65 for a disposable baler? This is absurd. What do you think you're doing? I had to interrupt her. "Excuse me?" She kept going. "Excuse me, those are not my rates." "But this is your invoice with your logo on it." "Fax it to me." Now, this is 20 years.
So early 1990s, I find myself as a young risk assessor working for the Department of Environmental Quality Engineering, doing risk assessment work in support of the old MCP. And the great thing about the old MCP was that there was certainty, and there was predictability, and it just didn't work. So I found myself observing and then participating in what became the rewrite of the MCP. And you all know that